Good evening. Britain's towns are not dumping grounds for illegal immigrants. They are not playgrounds for foreign perverts to sexually abuse women and girls. They are not fresh meat for jihadi lunatics with knives to go on a rampage. Now, busloads of illegal immigrants have been moved into a hotel in Altrincham in Greater Manchester. There could be up to 300 of them. They sit outside smoking and wandering around all day. They are a risk, as one local lady says.
100 guys from a country which we know did not value women.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's the hard... No, I'm sorry. Is there going to be a curfew? Or are they just at 7 o'clock at night, just going to be able to wander around? Is my daughter going to be safe when she goes into Altrincham and has a few drinks? No, is the answer.
We can't lock people up who haven't committed any crimes. We cannot impose on them and restrict their movement if they haven't committed any crimes.
Right. But it's not just that, is it? What about the local schoolgirls?
I just find it frankly unbelievable. There's a lollipop man on the doorstep because that's how close the primary is. There are 2 all-girls schools within 10-minute walk. They have to go past an at-risk area. Have they broken into the country illegally and claimed asylum?
Oh, yeah, and PC Plod just stands up and says, don't worry, everything will be fine.
Today, I can assure you we've had asylum seekers in Trafford for several years, and there has been no spike in crime, there has been no increase in crime that's attributed to these asylum seekers.
One girl raped is one too many. What he said is rubbish. The latest figures show almost all Channel migrants destroy their passports or do not have one on arrival to the UK. So we have no idea who they are. The Home Office and Ministry of Justice refused our Freedom of Information request to find out how many asylum seekers are guilty of violent and sexual crimes. We even offered to pay for the manpower it would take them to collect that data, and they refused to let us do that. There are loads of examples of illegal immigrants raping and abusing women and girls. Here's one. Rahmat Kwalanda raped a vulnerable woman and then sexually assaulted a teenager on a bus. Not far away from there, by the way. It was in Lancashire. Syrian brothers Omar and Mohammed Badreddin were jailed in March this year for multiple counts of rape, including that of a 13-year-old girl. Eritrean Phil Montekle, who's 29, raped a woman in Leeds in 2018. He was jailed for more than 6 years. I could go on for a very long time. And then you've got the pressures on public services on top of all of this. I mean, dentists, GPs, as one lady points out.
There were concerns too about adding pressures on local GP services.
And they come in the country and get what I want, to see a doctor.
Well, I suppose the good thing for her is that we're being told that loads of these illegal immigrants are doctors and engineers. So presumably they can build more GP surgeries and then work in them. Just today, Greater Manchester Police wished everyone a very happy Christmas by telling us, oh, don't worry, we'll have armed police at Manchester's Christmas market. Why do we need armed police? Well, it's because of radical Islamists, isn't it? Now, I'm not saying at all that every single illegal migrant is an Islamist. I don't want to make that claim. But we have just had a bloke stab an old man to death outside a migrant hotel in Hartlepool because he was angry about the war in Gaza. So that is a thing that's happened, isn't it? The northwest of England has the most asylum seekers living in long-term accommodation. As of 2023, it was 14,289. Goodness only knows how many there are now. And they're not going anywhere. Altrincham and places like Altrincham are not enclaves of the Middle East. They are British towns, predominantly full of British people who share British values. And for these people...
A lot of the posts on social media have been racist. I think when you're saying that refugee and asylum-seeking men should be vetted to make sure that they're not paedophiles, I think that's racist.
Those people with the refugees welcome signs, OK, you think you're the good guys. I think you're thick. I think you're really, really stupid. Locals have a right to be very, very angry. Now, it might not technically be an invasion, but goodness gracious me, it does look a lot like one. Let's get thoughts from my panel now. I've got Communications Manager at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Reem Ibrahim. We've got political commentator Alex Armstrong. We've also got journalist and broadcaster JJ Anasobi. Now, look, I am, as you can tell, very angry about this. I'm from that neck of the woods, right? I am from that neck of the woods. I know that area well. Alex, look, I mean, that to me is just... They're treating, especially the north of England, like a dumping ground.
Yeah, and it has been for a really long time, Patrick. I'm absolutely furious. This is going on again and again. Nobody has voted for this. Not a single person who put their tick against Labour or the Tories ever voted for immigration to soar to this kind of highs, let alone illegal immigrants. That poor community has had 300 men just show up on their doorstep, 10 minutes walk from an all-girls school, and the best they can do is shove a police officer in their face and tell them, you're all wrong, this is fine. And let's not forget, Keir Starmer said he was getting rid of this hotels policy, didn't he? Didn't he say it was stopped? Well, what, is it back on again now, is it? Another U-turn? I just cannot believe we're here again with another story like this. They are putting Britain on the edge. People have had enough.
People have had enough. I find it absolutely disgraceful that can happen with no warning. There's an information vacuum. Communities like that in Altrincham. What do we have to do, Reem? Do we have to wait for someone to be... some more people to be attacked or assaulted, do we?
Well, the problem is that people have already been attacked and nothing has happened. I think the problem here, Patrick, is that we have no idea what the criminal backgrounds of these people are. Now, that woman on screen that said that she thinks it's ridiculous that we're vetting people that come to this country to check if they're paedophiles or not, I think that's absolutely absurd. We have to ensure that people that come to this country are actually going to be OK to sort of enter into society. Now, these are effectively open prisons, right? These are people that have committed a crime, they've entered the country illegally, and they are all within the same vicinity in that hotel room with absolutely no restrictions. Now, I'm very, very liberal on immigration. I think that immigration is great for the country economically when it is legal. We are currently making it so difficult for very, very intelligent people to come to this country, and yet it is so easy for criminals to enter this country and commit crimes. And as a woman, as a young woman, I am terribly concerned.
Yeah, indeed. Look, JJ, I mean, I just feel absolutely at a loss about this story. You've got, a town there that is now going to have these 300 or so blokes from the Middle East, pretty much, which is what that is, within touching distance, and I do mean that literally, of a couple of girls' schools.
Yeah, look, I'll concede, Reem, that you are a woman, but young, that is pushing it. Oh. Let's start there. But when I like you, Reem, I'm liberal when it comes to immigration.
Yeah.
When you have people like that woman there saying it's racist to ask if people are paedophiles...
She's a moron.
Yeah, she loses the room. You really lose the room. I lived in the Middle East for 4 years. I had to get vetted before I went there. My fiancé is from America. I have to get vetted before I go there.
I am Middle Eastern, so I'm half Egyptian, half Moroccan. God, you could not go into Egypt or Morocco without being vetted. You could not come to those countries without being vetted. And these people are coming from those countries to the United Kingdom, which is supposed to effectively encompass this kind of British value, and isn't.
In defence of the Labour government, they have got a massive, huge backlog from the Tories, and they're trying to sift through it. However, more people are coming through, so it may seem like Keir Starmer has U-turned, and I think Keir Starmer is the weakest Labour leader we've ever had.
For me, I am actually angry with that police officer as well. Now, he's not here to defend
ignoring
himself.
residents.
And I get the fact that he's got a job to do. And I've got no doubt in my mind whatsoever that the last thing he wanted to do that evening was stand in a town hall in the north of England and have to defend this in front of a load of very, very angry people. But it is gaslighting and wrong to say that there is not the risk of crime as a result.
Yeah, and I just want to give the audience that comparison of what happened when the riots were going on. Let's just cast our minds back to the police officer who sat in a predominantly, clearly Muslim community, and he sat there and said, you can police yourselves, you can do all of this, I'm here with the community. Look at the contrast when it comes to those English people who were sat there. I don't want to draw a race comparison because it's not about race, it's about how the police conduct themselves, and it's disgraceful that he sat there and, as you rightfully said, Patrick, has gaslit them to the extent where they're in uproar because they know what they see with their own eyes. They know what they watch on the TV.
What I will say, JJ, just to I'll go to you on this, is that Altrincham and I believe it's Sale West, but I could be wrong about that, was Graham Brady's old seat. He's a former leader of the 1922 committee. They've just voted for Labour. Some people would say that's what you get.
Yes, but it was the Labour councillor who organised this meeting. So these people are saying we've been left in the dark. The meeting was organised by the Labour councillor.
It's too little too late, isn't it? It's too little too late.
Meeting?
That meeting was done after those people had arrived.
Yes,
so it was a complete shock
but it's not,
to the community.
But again, in defence of the police officer, he is literally following the letter of the law.
Well, of course.
So him saying to them, well, we can't lock them up. If they're going to be a curfew,
we
we can't have a
the
curfew.
governments,
Should we
right?
not have a look, should we not have a curfew? I'm sorry, but I do not feel as though ordinary, everyday rules of the land have to apply to people who we are still... I mean, most of them, the overall majority, do not have their passports when they arrive here. So I don't think it's unreasonable to...
But why do they not have their documents? They probably chuck them in the water when they get here. I'm not being funny, but this is literally the point where effectively we're saying that the law does not apply. If you come to this country illegally, you should not be allowed to enter this country. You should not be allowed to be paid taxpayer. You should not be put up in taxpayer-funded hotels. The point is, if they're genuinely so afraid for their lives, they would not be leaving the coast of France. Like, there is absolutely no reason for them to be here.
Right. Well, we've made an incentive, haven't we? That's what we've done. I mean, not only are we punishing pensioners this winter, but we are giving them an incentive to come over here. And then we're saying, the police officer wrongly says they haven't committed any crime. Well, they have. They entered the country illegally. And we're saying, come on over. We'll put you in a hotel. We'll make sure you're fed. We'll make sure you're well looked after.
Where are the women and children, by the way? Apparently that's all blokes.
It's all men. Yeah. All men.
And then
They've left their women and children back home in the Middle East, haven't they?
And then we do have examples of some, and it's a tiny minority of asylum seekers who have committed sexual assaults and things, and then they say, no, I can't go back home because back home I'll get stoned to death because I'm a paedophile.
This is... I alluded to this
Can I just point...
If they commit those crimes in their own countries, they would literally be shot. They would be stoned to death. They would not get away with it.
Yes, it's sad. Not our problem, unfortunately. That's their problem. What I was going to say is well, that's unfortunately the case, isn't it? The people who are outside protesting, they are part of the problem in this country. Yeah. Those people are absolutely part... To say that it's racist to vet someone for being a paedophile shows how far we have lost ourselves.
It's mad. And the idea that the authorities and the government are more afraid of offending people like that than they are ordinary people who go to those meetings and raise really salient points. Can I just say as well, right, all right, we've got a shred of skin in the game there because that's an area that I knew well. It's near where I grew up. There are others around that area. It's by no means the only hotel in that area. But this, you currently... Wherever you are in the UK watching this right now, you currently live in a situation where one day a bus full of people might turn up at your local hotel and without any warning, your local hotel is now a migrant hotel. And I'm not sure we want to live like that, do we? I certainly don't. Anyway, lively start.